everyone, welcome to Map My Tutor, where the chemistry becomes simple, scoring, and actually fun. I'm your chemistry guide, Dr. Sugandha, and today we are going to dive into KSET Chemistry PYQs. This is a real game changer for your rank. Remember one thing, if you feel like chemistry is going in a wrong direction, then I am your catalyst over here. Let's start with the questions. Let's start with the first question. In the reaction between hydrogen sulfide and acidified permanganate solution, what will happen? Which part is going to oxidize and which part is going to reduce? For letting know, let's first write the reaction. Hydrogen sulfide H2S reacts with permanganate, that is MnO4 negative, in the acidified solution, means H positive. What will happen? See, the trick is whenever permanganate in the presence of acidic medium, it will always reduce to manganese 2 positive. Okay? And H2S, this sulfur is going into its elemental state. And water will form along with this. So, you can see here sulfur is in the -2 oxidation state, is moving to sulfur in the 0 oxidation state, that is loss of 2 electrons. Loss of electron means oxidation. And manganese in the +7 oxidation state is turning into manganese into +2 oxidation state by gaining of 5 electrons, that is reduction. So where you can see this option? In the C, H2S is oxidized to sulfur and MnO4 negative is reduced to manganese 2 positive. So this is the right answer. So always remember, whenever permanganate in acidic medium, it will always convert into manganese 2 positive ion. Okay. A member of the lanthanide series, which is well known to exhibit +4 oxidation state. See, this is very important question, and usually this type of question comes in all the entrance exams, that where you need to know the electronic configuration of all the lanthanide and actinide series. Okay, so solving this question, we need to know the electronic configuration. Let's start it with europium, erbium, cerium, and samarium. Europium is xenon 4F7 6S2. Erbium, it is xenon 4F12 6S2. Cerium, it is xenon 4F1 5D1 and 6S2. What is for samarium? It is xenon 4F6 and 6S2. He is talking about +4 oxidation state. So we need to lose all the from all the elements, we need to remove 4 electrons. What will it become? It will come out xenon 4F5, xenon 4F10. For here it will come to xenon 4F0 and xenon 4F4. Now see, in these, what will be the most stable oxidation state for which element, where it either is half filled, fully filled, or zero filled? And out of these 4 options, cerium has 4F0 and means only xenon will be there, means which is the noble gas configuration. So this will give the most stable +4 oxidation state. So the answer is cerium. In which of the following pairs both the elements do not have N-1 D10 NS2 configuration? What does this mean, N-1 D10 NS2? Like 3D10 4S2 or 4D10 5S2? He is asking which of these elements do not have. This is very important, don't mistake it. Do not have. So let's see from the options like zinc, cadmium. They are both from the same period, so have the same electronic configuration, which is N-1 D10 and NS2. For this it is 3D10 4S2, and for cadmium it is 4D10 5S2. So both the options contain this electronic configuration. So this can't be the answer. Remove it. Next is cadmium and mercury. This is also belonging to the same period, cadmium and mercury. It is 5d10 6s2. So this also can't be the answer. Next is silver and copper. It comes here. It is copper and silver. So this is N-1 D10 NS1. So both of these elements do not contain the configuration N-1 D10 NS2. So this is the right answer. In the last option, like zinc again contains the same configuration, but copper don't. But we want both the options which do not contain this configuration. So C is the right answer. A ligand which has two different donor atoms and either of the two ligates with the central metal atom ion in the complex is called, this is very important, this complex is known as ambidentate ligand. See, here it is in the option C, ambidentate ligand. What is this? Ambidentate ligand is the ligand which contains two donor atoms, such as in the example like you can see in SCN, sulfur and nitrogen, both are donor atoms, but at a time either sulfur can link to the metal atom or nitrogen can link to the metal atom. So such type of ligands are known as ambidentate ligands. Okay. Which of the following statements are true about NaCl4 negative? Options are, we need to select the true one. The complex has tetrahedral geometry. The coordination number of nickel is 2 and oxidation state is +4. The complex is sp3 hybridized. It is a high spin complex. The complex is paramagnetic. To know all these things, first we need to find out the geometry, oxidation state, coordination number, hybridization for nickel chloride with the help of a valence bond theory. Okay. So we will solve this with the help of a valence bond theory, which is a very famous theory in the coordination chemistry. Let's find out. NiCl4 negative. Let's start with the oxidation step. If we consider this nickel as X, for chloride ion, the oxidation state is -1 for one chloride. There is 4 chlorides, so we'll take -4 is equal to -2. X is equal to -2 plus 4 and X is equal to +2. So nickel oxidation state is +2. Okay. And coordination number in this complex is 4. Why? Because 4 chloride ions are linked to the metal atom. So our coordination number is 4. One thing. Next, we need to find out the hybridization. For this, we will see the electronic configuration of nickel +2, that is 3d8. Okay. 3d8. Let's draw it. D contains 5 orbitals. Which 5 orbitals are these? dxy, dxz, dyz, dxk minus y square and dzk. These are the 5d orbitals. 4s, s contains only one orbital. And 4p, p contains 3 orbitals. Which are those? px, py, pz. Okay. Let's fill these 8 electrons in the d orbitals. Like we'll fill it with the help of a different color. Let's consider this yellow color. 1. Boom, it is not visible. Change the color. Let's take white. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We have filled these according to the Hund's rule. What Hund's rule say? That pairing of electron will not take place until all the orbital contains one electron. Okay. So first we have filled all the orbitals by one electron and then we paired it, and so they contains 2 unpaired electrons. Okay. And now the complex is nickel chloride, 4 chlorine. 4 chlorine will come in these chlorine, chlorine, chlorine and chlorine. These 4 orbitals will come here. Okay. So the hybridization over here is sp3. And as it contains 2 unpaired electrons, so it is paramagnetic in nature. Okay. This all we know with the help of a valence bond theory. And sp3 hybridization means which geometry it is? It is a tetrahedral geometry. because 4 ligands are there. With 4 ligands, either it can be tetrahedral or square planar. Only 2 options are there. And here the hybridization came out is sp3. sp3 means tetrahedral. If it comes out dsp2, sp2d, that is square planar. Okay. So now let's see the options. The complex has tetrahedral geometry. Very right. Complex comes out tetrahedral. So this is the right option. Coordination number of nickel is 2 and oxidation state is +4. See, the coordination number is 4. He is saying 2. So this is a wrong. Oxidation state is +4, but oxidation state is +2. So this is a wrong option. Next is the complex is sp3 hybridized. That is also true. So this is right. It is a high spin complex. What do you mean by high spin? See, chloride is a weak field ligand. If it is a weak field ligand, that means the energy between these two splitted d orbitals, this is E and T2, in case of a tetrahedral, the energy between them is very less. This energy is less. If this energy is less, then electron can easily transfer from this ground state to this E to T2. Transition can easily take place and the maximum number of unpaired electron will be there. So that means weak field means high spin. How high spin? Energy between them will be less and more number of unpaired electrons we will get. For this, like it is 8 unpaired electrons. 8 electrons are there in case of nickel. So how will we fill this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we get 2 unpaired electrons. Okay. So this is weak field high spin complex. This is right. Next is the complex is paramagnetic. This is true, right? So option A, C, D and E is the right one. So D is the right answer. Which formula and its name combination is incorrect? We need to tell here incorrect. Always see the question very carefully that either they are asking about correct or incorrect. Okay. See, the first thing, we need to tell the IUPAC name of these formulas. For this, we need to start with the ligand first and that too in a alphabetical order. Okay. See, first option here, chlorine and ethylene diamine is given. Okay. So chlorine comes first because of C. So it is given first. We will not consider this di in the alphabetical order. Okay. So dichlorido, bis, ethane 1,2-diamine, cobalt 3-chloride. This is very right for this. Okay. So this is the right answer. So this can't be our answer. So it is wrong. CuNH3,5CO3 chlorine. Here it is given pentamine for this and carbonyl for this. But this is not carbonyl. CO3 is known as carbonato. Okay. So this is wrong. And he is asking about incorrect. So this is our right answer. For your general knowledge, we can see the other options as well. Like in this option, there are ligands like chlorine, nitro and amine. So for this, we start with diamine, then chlorido, nitrito and platinum. So this is right. For this, it is trioxalato, potassium, trioxalato, del chromate and 3. Okay, so these options are right and our answer is B, which is the incorrect due to carbonyl is not there. CO3 is known as carbonato. In the complex ion Fe(C2O4) 3 negative, the coordination number of iron is. What is coordination number? This is very important term, coordination number. What is it? Coordination number are the number of sigma bonds between the ligand and the metal atom. Okay. So in this complex, this ligand is linked to the metal atom. Now we know this oxalato group, oxalate, is bidentate in nature. And for bidentate, we consider two sides are linked with the metal atom. Okay. So there are 3 in number. So coordination number will be 2 into 3, that is 6. So answer will be 6. So D is the right answer. Okay. Match list 1 and list 2 for the following reaction patterns: glucose reagent, product, structural prediction. That when we react these reagents with glucose, how will the product which product we will get and how we will predict those products. Okay. For this, first we need to write the structure of glucose. What is the structure of glucose? It is CHO, H, OH, OH, H, H, OH. 6 carbons are there in glucose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so this is the structure of glucose. Now we will see one by one how this reagent react with glucose and what will be the product and how we can predict the structure of glucose with the help of these reagents. Okay, first is acetic anhydride. Acetic anhydride. Acetic anhydride is CH3CO CH3 part. So now in this what will happen, this acetic anhydride, it is like acetic anhydride OC, it's like acetic anhydride will react with these 5 OH groups and convert it into OCOCH3 ester part. Okay, so by reaction acetic anhydride with glucose, all the OH groups in the glucose will convert into ester OCOCH3 group. So where we can see this option, is there any option like that? Yes, acetic anhydride can go with this. Glucose has 5 hydroxyl groups. We can predict by reaction of glucose with acetic anhydride. So A will match with this 3. Is there any option like that? Yes. In part A, option A and C, A with 3. So we can rule out these 2 options, that is B and D will not be there. Only 2 options now we need to search. Next is bromine water. What will happen if we react glucose with bromine water? Anybody know? Yes, it will convert this aldehyde group into acid. Okay, so from this we get to know that there is a aldehyde group is present. So this is bromine water goes with glucose as an aldehyde group. So it is present in the option A, that B for 1. So from here only we get the answer. It is our choice, we need to see other options or not, but we get the answer from here, that the answer is A. For your knowledge, let's see what will happen if glucose reacts with hydroiodic acid, HI. On prolonged heating of glucose with HI will convert into N-hexane. Okay, and here like there is an option, glucose has a straight chain of 6 carbon atom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From here we get to know that when glucose reacts with hydroiodic acid, then it will give N-hexane. That means 6 carbons are present in the glucose unit. Okay, so C with 2, like this. And hydrogen cyanide, but it will do hydrogen cyanide will convert this part into like this, OH and CN. So from there we get to know that in the glucose unit, the carbonyl group is present, which will convert into that OH and CN part. So D is for 4. So this, from here we get to understand that by reacting glucose with these reagents, we can understand that in a glucose there is a presence of a carbonyl group, OH, and 6 carbons are there. Okay. The correct sequence of alpha amino acid, hormone, vitamin, carbohydrates respectively is. Means from the option we need to tell that in a order. First should be alpha amino acid, then hormone, then vitamin and the carbohydrates. Let's see first glutamine. Glutamine is a alpha amino acid that we all know, it is right. Insulin is a hormone which absorbs blood sugar from the blood. Aspartic acid is again alpha amino acid, but we need vitamin over here, so this is the wrong option. Arginine is alpha amino acid. Testosterone is a hormone. Glutamic acid is again alpha amino acid, so again B can't be the answer, right? So rule out. Next is C, which is aspartic acid, is alpha amino acid, right? Insulin is a hormone, true. Ascorbic acid is a vitamin, right? Vitamin C is known as ascorbic acid. And rhamnose is also a carbohydrate. It is a alpha sugar. So this is the right option. So from here we get the answer. Like we can see in the last case, this thiamine is not alpha amino acid. It is a vitamin. So this is wrong. Vitamin B1 is known as thiamine. Okay. So this can't be the answer. So we get our answer C. These are all the sequence, following the sequence of alpha amino acid, hormone, vitamin and carbohydrates. Which examples of carbohydrates exhibit alpha link in their structures? Now, what is alpha linkage? It is a kind of covalent bonding. Okay, it is a kind of a covalent bonding between the glucose units. For here, it is alpha linkage is present in which structure? Amylose and amylopectin, cellulose and glycogen, glucose and fructose, maltose and lactose. No, it comes in amylose and amylopectin. Okay, A is the right answer. What is this? Amylose and amylopectin. It is a straight, amylose is a straight chain polymer of D-glucose. Okay, of D-glucose. While amylopectin is a branched chain polymer of D-glucose. Okay, in case of this, linkage is like this. Let's say this is a D-glucose and oxygen linkage. This oxygen linkage is known as alpha linkage. Okay, this linkage is known as alpha linkage. Okay, this is the alpha D glucose. As in the straight chain, so this is known as amylose. If this is a branch chain structure, then it is known as a amylopectin. Okay. So this is D-glucose. When the straight chain polymer occurs, then it is amylose. And in case of a branch chain, it is amylopectin. This contains alpha linkage, which is a covalent bonding, type of covalent bonding. In the titration of a potassium permanganate against ferrous ammonium sulfate solution, dilute sulfuric acid is used but not nitric acid to maintain the acidic medium. What is the reason behind this? Let's see the options. Nitric acid does not act as an indicator. Nitric acid itself is an oxidizing agent. This is very right. Nitric acid is itself act as an oxidizing agent just like KMNO4. KMNO4 is also an oxidizing agent. Nitric acid is also an oxidizing agent because nitric acid HNO3. Here in this HNO3, nitrogen has +5 oxidation state. If it is +5 oxidation state, it can get reduced to NO, N2O, okay? NO2, it can get reduced. So, it is a reducing agent, oxidizing agent, sorry. If they are oxidizing agent, then both of them, if are present in the same titration, they will interfere in the titrant and the analyte. And so, we will not get the best results. So, we don't use nitric acid. So, our preferred choice will be sulfuric acid. Likewise, we also don't use HCl in this because HCl also acts as an oxidizing agent. It releases chlorine, which acts as an oxidizer. So, in such reactions, when permanganate and FAS solutions are included, we use H2SO4 as a safer option. Okay. So, keep remember this, that nitric acid is an oxidizing agent. Okay. And we don't use this in such titrations. The group reagent NH4Cl and aqueous ammonia will precipitate which of the following ion? This is known as group reagent NH4Cl and aqueous ammonia, and they will usually precipitate insoluble hydroxides. Okay. Insoluble hydroxides in the basic medium. This is a theoretical question. You should write this in your notebook in a notes that this group reagent precipitate in the insoluble hydroxides in the basic medium for aluminium 3 positive, chromium 3 positive, and iron 3 positive. So let's see which is the option present. Aluminium 3 positive. So this is our right answer. Okay, these are not the options, right? So this is the right answer, aluminium 3 positive. Okay. In the preparation of sodium fusion extract, the purpose of fusing organic compounds with a piece of sodium metal is to, why we fuse organic compound with a sodium extract, sodium metal, to make a sodium fusion extract? So that we can convert the organic compound into an ionic form, which will help us to detect the ions and in a easy manner. Okay, so for our ease, we convert the organic compound into ionic form. So this is the right option, option A, that convert the elements of the compound from covalent form to the ionic form. Okay. The sodium fusion extract is boiled with concentrated nitric acid while testing for halogens. By doing so, what will happen? Either it increases the solubility of AgCl, increases the concentration of nitrate ion, decomposes Na2S and NaCN if formed, or help in precipitation of AgCl. What do you think? You know, this is a very famous test known as Lessing test, LASSAIGNES test, which we do for halogens, which is very famous for the detection of halogen. In this, what will happen? This is the right answer. Decomposes Na2S and NaCnF4. Why? See, what we do, when we detect halogen, we boil this sodium extract with nitric acid. Okay, and when we boil, there is an option that we can get cyanide from nitrogen and sulfur, this sulfur, okay, from this elements. And what will happen? They will interfere in the detection of halogen. So we need to rule out this, because in the test, in this lesson test, we use AgCl. Now AgCl, what will do? AgCl will bind with this sulfur and form Ag2S, and with cyanide AgCN, and white precipitate will form. So it will interfere in the detection of halogen, and we might get confused by using that. So for ruling out, we remove this, decompose Na2S and NaCN if formed by boiling nitric acid with sodium fusion extract. Okay, so reminded that decomposes Na2S and NaCN if formed in the lesson test. Okay, so C is the right answer. Which of the following is not an aromatic compound? Do you know what is aromatic compound? Aromatic compounds are those compounds which follow Huckel rule. What is Huckel rule say? That a compound must contain 4n plus 2 pi electron, where n is 0, 1, 2 means it can be 6 pi electrons, 2 pi electrons, 10 pi or 14 pi electrons. Okay. And along with this, a molecule should be planar in nature. It should be cyclic and conjugated in nature. So these are the 4 points that must be followed by an aromatic compound. That is, it should contain 4n plus 2 pi electrons, planar, cyclic and conjugated in nature. Let's see the options now. In option A, see, 1 pi bond contains 2 electrons. So here 2, 4, 6 pi electrons are there. So it is aromatic, right? It is planar in nature. It is conjugated because it contains this plus bond. Due to this, it is a conjugation. In conjugation, here it is 4 pi electrons. So it is not aromatic. This is our answer, because it is 4 pi electrons, and for being a compound to be aromatic, it should contain 4n plus 2, which is so this is not following the Huckel rule. So it is non-aromatic. Okay, see here what it is. It is anti-aromatic. Okay, because it is planar in nature. For a compound to be non-aromatic, it should be non-planar. Okay, it is planar, so it is anti-aromatic. Let's see here. It is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14 pi electron. It is also following the Huckel rule. So this is aromatic. Okay, here it is 2, 4. This minus also gives 2 electrons. So it is 6 pi electrons. So This is also aromatic in nature. So A, B and D is an aromatic compound, and here he is asking about not an aromatic compound. So C is the right answer.